Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us on the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Esther Omakwariola. Now today on the program, Oyo Police denies rejecting suspects arrested by Amotekun as Southeast governors vow to roll out unified security outfit soon. The federal government insists there is no going back on removal of petrol, electricity subsidies and borrowing of unclaimed dividends. And later on the show, Manchester United go on 3 points clear at the top of the EPL table after a 1-0 away victory over Burnley. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo. Journalist Hangout starts now. Now let's pay tribute to one of Nigeria's Civil War veterans and former military administrator, Imo and Lagos State's Rear Admiral Ndubisi Kanu, who died earlier today at the age of 77. The former naval chief was a member of the pro-democracy group, the National Democratic Coalition, NADECO, which fought for the actualization of the annulled June 12, 1993 presidential election. May his gallant soul rest well. BKO. We recently lost one of Nigeria's Civil War veterans. What are your thoughts on this?
It's a painful loss. Yes, death is a price, it's a debt that we all have to pay. The Yorubas will say, which means that no one can literally stay in this world forever. Ndubisi Kanu is a Nigerian hero, fought for his country, and he could have stayed in his comfort zone. But when he saw Nigeria drifting, he felt the need to join other patriots to push for the actualization of the June 12 mandate freely given to Moshood Abiola on June 12, 1993. And that cemented his, that gave him what I would call immortality in the hearts of progressive Nigerians. And the Lagos State government honored him by naming clearly the best garden, recreational garden in the state after him. That's the one in Alausa, you know, or Alausa, which is the proper way to pronounce it. So, may his soul rest in peace.
Absolutely. Amen.
His life is a lesson to every one of us. Let's make an impact. When we make an impact, we'll be remembered for good.
Let's make an impact. Dipo, your thoughts? Or Dotun, should I start with that? Apologies.
Well, I think what we've witnessed today is the loss of one of the few non-partisan leaders that Nigeria still had until this morning. One of the things that generally resonates with Nigerians when people speak is to find a way of giving it some coloration. It's because it's a member of PDP. It's because it's a member of APC. But when Ndubisi Kanu spoke, when he was alive, everybody stands still to listen, because you can't blame him of extreme partisanship that colors the positions of our leaders. We have only a few of them left. And this loss is one great one for Nigeria.
Well, let us move on to an issue of today. A lack of synergy is often the bane of effective interagency success in Nigeria. Now, the relationship between the newly formed Amotekun Security Corps and the Nigerian Police comes to mind. The Commissioner of Police, Oyo State, Nwachukwu Enomu, described as false news that the command rejected robbery suspects brought to it by Amotekun operatives. Enomu said the news was an attempt to portray the police as uncooperative towards jointly combating crime with Amotekun. Meanwhile, the Southeast is putting finishing touches to forming a security outfit for the region. And the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum and governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Imahi, said leaders of the zone have formed a joint security outfit to tackle security challenges. And the governor said the name of the outfit will be announced soon. So, BKO, what do you make of this report? Even though the police, or your police command, has dismissed such allegations as untrue, saying that the message was to create the public imagery that the police was uncooperative towards jointly combating crime with Amotekun. What do you make of this scenario?
Yes, I've been trying to piece together some facts about what really happened, because in our country, most of the time, when things like this happen, the truth is always the biggest casualty. Our people hate the truth so much. That's why if you are someone who likes to speak the truth, you will be so intensely hated. You know, some of our people can live with armed robbers, but they can't stand people who speak the truth. You call them names. Oh, he too know. He thinks he knows everything. And people who choose not to pursue knowledge. Now speaking ill of people who have made a habit of constantly seeking knowledge. That's the way we are. Frankly, all state police command will be utterly irresponsible to deliberately refuse to work with Amotekun, because there is a lot that they can gain. Mistakes were made in the beginning, which suggested that both the IG and even some of the proponents of Amotekun did not have complete grasp of what it stood for and what it can achieve. But in the fullness of time, some of the fears were calmed, and we could see the IG rolling out some guidelines and all that, and everyone became on the same, began to sing from the same hymn book. And I remember interviewing the IG on this Amotekun thing just before the lockdown last year, and he was not opposed to it, because he has always been an apostle of community policing. We can't have state police now, but Amotekun can help us achieve the goal of community policing, which this IG has always wanted. So if people sit somewhere and continue to give Amotekun a bad name in the press, making it look like, oh, these guys are irresponsible, all they want to do is simply to create bedlam all over the place. If they succeed, the blowback will be very bad for all of us. Because what we want is a secure nation, not a nation where bandits are holding us by the jugular. And there has been a lot of activities on the part of Amotekun, not just in Oyo State, but even in Osun and Ondo State. How did the Amotekun idea even crop up in the first place? It was in response to the killing of Baba Fashoranti's daughter. You know? Now, what the police commissioner is saying is, look, there is what is called jurisdictional policing. When an event occurs or crime occurs in a particular area, there is a police unit, a police formation, you know, that ought to
be in charge.
Something can happen in Olosun, for example, and you go and report at Maroko police station. That's the point that
the police command is trying to
police
make.
command is make, the police commissioner was making.
Yeah.
But when you look at what happened to, you can see where the misunderstanding arose, because according to him, they first lodged the Amotekun Corps, first lodged their report at Mokola. And at Mokola, they were told to go to Yagonku. That the Yagonku police division would be the best to handle that matter, talking about this AOR. But when they go to Yagonku, they were then told to go to Agodi. So if you were in their shoes, you'll be wondering what's going on. Mm-hmm. I think that if I were in their shoes, those criminals will first take custody of those, yes, and then send them to where they ought to be. The police must realize that Amotekun is helping them to do their work. Mm. It is clear to everyone that the police, as currently structured, cannot defeat crime in our country. And that's why there is persistent call for state police and all that. So you have a helper. You can't be tossing the helper around. Because when you are doing that, what was the guarantee that if they went to even Agodi, they will not turn them back again? So there is a misunderstanding somewhere, and I'm happy that the governor of your state is, I think, about now addressing the press on this matter. He has to show leadership. He has to show that on this matter is focused and his goal is clear. The rate at which bandits who are foreigners, the rate at which they are abducting people on their farms in Ibarapa, abducting people in Okeogun. And sometimes these useless people will take ransom and still go ahead and kill people. It has to stop. It has to stop. Because no one is safe. And I think the last thing that anyone should expect to see, because when you look at a state like Oyo, the largest state in the southwest, it has access points to all parts of the southwest. So this is a state that you have to look at, you have to give serious attention security-wise. We don't want a situation in which Oyo degenerates into another Zamfara or Katsina. We have bandits dictate the terms. Oh, if you don't bring fire, or even Niger. We have bandits if you don't pay us 5 million, you can't live in your homes. Oh, foreigners coming into people's community and telling them that they can only exist on their terms. It has to stop. And I need to say this. We have to forget about the issue of opposition politics in this. When it comes to security, you have to brush silly opposition politics aside. What did the federal government do with Zamfara? When the kidnapping of these children happened in Katsina, they had to talk to the governor of Zamfara. He's a PDP governor. But he was the one who helped them. He was the one who knew the bandits. He was the one who negotiated and have those boys released. And when they were released, we sent for the army to provide trucks and guide them all the way to Safe, from Safe to Katsina. That's what happened. It wasn't as if soldiers surrounded them and they were afraid they released the boys. Whoever said that does not fear God. Because that was not what happened.
So, Doctor, from what BK has said, clearly, it should be more of a cooperation between the police and security outfits. But, how can we ensure that security outfits such as Amotekun work effectively in synergy with the police so that there won't be any misconception as this in future?
Yeah, like you said, there was some kind of politicization of whatever took place. Because the police, under the federal structure, people see them as being APC or Progressive Congress. And then the government in Oyo State is a People's Democratic Party headed government. So it's like the APC not wanting to help the PDP. And then some statements also went around from some APC chieftains in Oyo State, lambasting the governor, calling on him to take steps, making it look as if it's because it was then not in the country, as if his absence was what caused the trouble. So, like Miko said, it has gone beyond politics now. What we need to do is to sit down and ask ourselves the necessary question. If bandits take over your state, not only is it surrounded by southwest states, it's also the major outlet into the north from the southwest, meaning you could reach Niger State, which is hotbed of kidnapping and ransom payment now. It also takes you to the border through Okeogun, Shaki end, meaning that we also have international border in Oyo State. So politics must go out of it. Otherwise, just like what has happened in Niger and Kaduna State, if these terrorists lay hold of Oyo State, then the southwest is gone because it's easy. You can go to the north, you can enter into any of the southwest states from here easily.
Right.
So we need to stop this politics.
Indeed.
Like you said, I don't think that there should have been any doubt about who takes custody of those criminals.
Absolutely.
At that point, somebody should have. It's one police formation.
Right.
There is a command structure.
Right.
Take hold. Then you now say, okay, we're transferring you to the area where that has jurisdiction over this matter. First, you take hold.
Absolutely.
Not for you to be pushing the people who have brought them along with the criminals.
But you know, in as much as this is what is going on, the Southeast Governors, BKO, has decided to roll out its own unified security outfit to ensure adequate protection of life and property in their state. What do you make of this move by the Southeast Governors?
It's something that I support wholeheartedly, because, look, if you've been victim of these people, and I keep saying it that majority of them are not Nigerians. I know what I'm talking about because I've interviewed bandits in Katsina. I've interviewed victims of bandits in Downsabou, the border town between Katsina and Zamfara State. I've seen them. I've seen bandits eye to eye. I've done documentary on them. So I know that a good number of these guys, majority of them are not Nigerians. So they do not even deserve our pity at all. People who will be destroying people's farmlands, raping rural women, kidnapping people for ransom, and sometimes even taking their lives. We have to take extreme measures. If extreme measures will give us the solution, we have to take extreme measures to deal with these guys.
Right.
And that's what people have seen clearly, that the police, they don't have even the strength in number to defeat crime in our country. They also do not have the requisite equipment to make it happen. Now we have used police, we have used the army, we've used the Air Force, and we can see bandits still running riot in Katsina. Today, bandits are releasing their abductees in Katsina. It's not for any reason. It's because we are in dry season. They just want to be given a breather so that, because you have cows, so that their cows can have access to water. Because they are literally surrounded. So they want a breather. Once they release, after some time, you think that, okay, they have turned a new leaf. One of the, in fact, the biggest bandit in Katsina today, in Katsina State today, his name is Dangote. Dangote at a point made up his mind that he has stopped banditry. He even bought a house in Katsina. What did he do? He went back to the forest. He was the one who killed 18 soldiers the other day in Shimfida. Shimfida is in Jibia local government area. And up to today, we have not served justice to him. We know where his camp is. Even me, I know where his camp is. His camp is in Shimfida. I pointed to the road leading to his camp. And I saw his camp in the story that I did. But we have not served justice to him. His camp is still standing. So bandits now think that they own Nigeria that the rest of us, we cannot do anything. Whatever they want, they should go get away with it. No, we say no to that. And our security agencies must stand up to this rubbish.
Absolutely. Can't agree any far less. But, Doctor, with the points raised by BKO, it is a truth that everyone knows. But still, the Southeast governor says they're going to go into training and retraining of the security outfits, which is germane if we're to have, a good security system where one is not left into, handling things on his own, without, taking laws into its hands, more or less. But what do you make of this development? Even though it is a good step, do you think perhaps this would eventually lead to a stamping out of insecurity in the country totally?
Well, it's a small step that is huge. Because initially the Southeast governor said, no, we don't want any regional security outfit. Yeah. But now, perhaps with what Amotekun has been doing, because indeed, if you look at the situation in Ondo State at about the last time I came on this program, it was terrible. Now those guys appear to have taken over. They have taken back the territory, and they are doing well. The same thing is happening in Oyo State now, where there is synergy and they are moving. That's with Amotekun now. So anybody who feels that tackling it this way will help, I think they should go ahead, because we need all help that we can get from everywhere. Otherwise, gradually, we are going to lose the whole country. The Southeast is still somewhat sane. Sane. Let's even say sane. Okay. Because it's not safe. Right. It's saner.
But recently they had
it's saner than some other parts of the country. But because when you look at it, they don't have the kind of terrain that you have in the southwest and in the north, where criminals can just go in and come out. So it appears a bit saner. But the moment you leave it unattended to, it's going to get worse, because it's just a matter of studying the topology and they take over the whole area also. It's happening. We shouldn't take the case of destroying people's farms with cows, raping women who are mothers and daughters with levity. It's a serious matter, and that was how it started in some areas. It was the same thing in Ondo State. It was like, is this true or not? When they entered into Chief Olufalayi's farm, it happened once. Said no, it was just a one-off thing. It happened again, and then they got emboldened and started coming on the streets to the point of kidnapping and killing a first-class monarch. So if the Southeast also does not quickly take this step, they may end up the same way. And
we hope they do not get into that same
No. I think with this, they should. That is one. Then this also will help them in dousing this impression that is coming up gradually, that they are backing the so-called Eastern Security Network.
Right.
Because that is like the sing-song now, that, okay, since you have failed to set up yours, it appears the one that is being set up illegally is the one you are backing. And the only way to quickly douse that tension is doing this.
Okay. All right, now let's quickly move on to our next segment of today's show. This is not what most Nigerians want to hear, but it is like no turning point on the issue. The federal government says there is no going back on its decisions on removal of subsidy on petrol and electricity. Now, speaking in Abuja, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says the policy to borrow unclaimed dividends and unused money in bank accounts put at about 850 billion naira has come to stay. And Ahmed explained that the government did not make provisions for petrol and electricity subsidies in the 2021 budget. BKO, what do you make of the federal government's stance not to, bring back fuel subsidy and, of course, petroleum subsidy and, of course, electricity subsidy, I beg your pardon?
There is still petroleum subsidy as we speak.
And you have your facts.
Let no one, except the unreading journalist, the one who is not current, that would think that
There is no subsidy.
There is no subsidy. There is still subsidy at this time. And even the Minister of State for Petrol confirmed that there is still subsidy. I attended an event, I heard him say it. So it's not like, oh, Jide has come again, or maybe fiction. No, he said it, I listened, and I heard him say it. And even if he didn't say it, all the telltale signs are there. If we had removed subsidy, as we have done with diesel, for example, we won't be fixing petroleum prices.
Right.
PPPRA still fixes petroleum prices as it is today. We still have Petroleum Equalization Fund, which was designed to ensure that across the country we sell petrol at the same price. So you get subsidized to take petrol all the way to Borno State, which is probably the farthest part of our country, or even Sokoto on the other side. So the Petroleum Equalization Fund ensures that the bridging that we do is effective and everyone can sell at the same price across the country. That's what a subsidy regime ensures. The moment we remove subsidy, you have no business. It is market forces that will determine the price. You have no business fixing prices. We don't fix prices of diesel. We don't. But petrol, we still fix. So it may, what I can deduce from this is that there is a determination to ultimately remove petroleum subsidy. But as at today, we have not removed petroleum subsidy. That is a fact, as confirmed by the Petroleum Resources Minister of State. And he's hearing me. I'm not lying against him. He confirmed it because the signs are there. He cannot even lie about it. The telltale signs are there. Why are those government agencies still operating if we are in the we are not in a subsidy regime? So this is the thing. And the fact that there's no provision for subsidy in the budget does not mean that we cannot operate subsidy. There were years when we did not provide
the budget.
We did not appropriate money for subsidy, and we still subsidized. How was NNPC doing it? NNPC was doing it through crude oil sales. So this is a fact, because our people deserve to know the truth. You just net off the subsidy from the crude oil sales that you make, so that we have not put it in the budget. Does not mean that we cannot sustain a subsidy regime.
Petrol.
I've always said, look, let the subsidy go. Ultimately, because subsidy has encouraged a lot of corruption. You know, there are still people, and it's not an NPC alone that is bringing in product. Let me also say that there are still a few individuals bringing in the product. So it's not an NPC alone as we speak. Okay. Now, what I want to see is a situation in which we will be able to, quantum of money that we spend on subsidy, we will be able to use it to develop infrastructure, because we simply can't find money. Everything we want to do, we need money, we're going running from pillar to post to find money. Whereas there's a lot of money that we are spending on subsidizing the product, that a lot of our neighbors, they are not Nigerians, but they enjoy buying petrol heavily subsidized by us. Yes, we closed the borders, but it didn't work 100%. The closure of the borders did not succeed 100%. We're now in a situation in which even security forces, join smugglers, help smugglers to bring in rice, especially in northern Nigeria. So subsidy, fine, for petroleum product, it can go. The only thing that I want to add in the case of electricity is, yes, I have also preached that we should have cost-reflective tariff for electricity. But at this point, shouldn't the discos be mandated to provide meters for their customers? What we are doing now, estimated billing. The estimated billing regime is still on. So whenever you increase tariff, you probably also increase estimated billing. That is fraudulent. That's just cheating Nigerians. Provide the meter. I was reading that they are going to, discos are going to bridge the meter gap over a period of I think 5 years or so.
Extended to 10 now.
So during that period, what happens? Can't the government even allow other people to bring in these meters?
Make it available to
remove
everyone.
The duty on it, let people bring in meters. Let people see what they are paying for. Up to today, is still estimated billing that I'm subjected to. Despite all the efforts that I've made. And many Nigerians are groaning. There's not so much money for people, but we are treating them in this manner. You can increase tariff, but give people meter so that they will see that they are being billed for what they use. I think it was the Speaker of the House of Reps who was hungry the other day and sponsored a bill against estimated billing. In spite of that, in our country, people are still being subject, more than 1 year after, still subjected to estimated billing. And our regulators, our regulatory agencies are so weak that they give instruction, but these people, they don't obey. You say, oh, crash the cost of data. They will not obey. Oh, don't increase electricity tariff until you are told to do so. They will not listen. So who will now help the common man?
Perhaps Dr. I should ask you that question. Who will now help the common man? Because the majority of Nigerians are still under estimated billing. As of today, I know of someone who told me that he has a bill, a monthly payment of 75,000 naira for a self-apartment.
That person must be using power for 24 hours. I don't enjoy power for 24 hours. The reality is that those who are making the laws, those who are the enforcers of the laws, they are already compromised in all of this. We've said it here. Check the ownership structure of the discos. Check the ownership structure of the Gencos. That's generating arm also. You'll find out that it's all in between. It's the same people who are making the laws. It's the same people who are enforcing. It's either they are direct owners or a cousin, a brother, and then it becomes a family affair. So, and once something is a family affair, like we always do in Nigeria, we settle it within the family. You don't bring it into the public.
We carry each other along.
So we bury it within the family, and that's what is happening, basically, for the power sector. In terms of fuel subsidy, I gave up a long time ago. The stories vary depending on who is saying it. In the same government, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timi Silva, has told us that till now, there is still subsidy. Even in the years when subsidy was not provided for in the budget, there was a time even the National Assembly was saying, you still must do it. Find a way around the monies you have within the budget and do it. Because at some point, you may get to a situation where people must trek. Because you can't have petrol, which most vehicles use in Nigeria, the cost going up, the spare parts going up, because the naira is crashing against the dollar. So the tire that you bought yesterday for 20,000, don't be shocked if you get there today and it's 30,000. Because the man who is selling to you also must restock. So if he hears that the tire I bought yesterday for 20,000 is now selling for 30,000, we have to get to restock, then he must also sell at 30,000. Otherwise, he won't be able to go to the market. So it's a combination that we are trying to look at. So if we must take away the subsidy, why not? Do it. But the alternatives must be there. Government says we'll provide buses. We shouldn't be talking of 100 buses. In a country of 200 million people. Government says we've spoken with Labour.
They said they will give the buses to Labour.
To Labour.
The Labour people, the only people.
The only people. Even if Labour makes it open to everybody to use, what do you do with 1,000 buses? Even in Lagos, if you put 1,000 buses in Lagos, it's going to get drowned. Because people need to move. So we need to begin to get more serious with this issue. To begin to look at alternatives. Where you can use water, can we look at it? Where we can use the rail, can we begin to work fast at it? Because we keep staying on the same issue year in, year out. And here also, we've said it. If you need to appeal to Nigerians, that see, for this sector this year, we may not be doing much, but we need to focus on rail. So that you do mass transit through the rail, then please go ahead and do it. If you need to focus on water transportation, please do it. But there must be mass movements. There must be, because if you have the opportunity of moving people massively through other means, then you don't have to start explaining to people why petrol is going up. Because all the buses that you are even putting the petrol in, how many people can they take?
Indeed. Let's hold your thoughts on that. Let's quickly move on to our next issue, still on this matter of economic policies. Now, BKO, the finance minister, we understand, said that the government will, hold unclaimed dividends of investors in stock market in trust and will make the fund available when needed by the investor. What are your thoughts on this?
Look, they need money. They need money. The truth is, we are not generating enough. One, because we are not producing enough, and because even the generating agencies are not living up to expectation, and the avenues through which leakages have been found, they are huge. So we need to work more on in the area of revenue generation. I've seen the revenue generation plan, and I'm wondering whether with COVID and all that we are still facing, that we can actually meet that projection. FAN and the rest of them, the revenue generating agencies, they will generate so much, but they will remit so little. It's a problem. Everyone knows it's a problem. Generate so much, remit a little. So if we can do better in the area of revenue generation, then there will be no need to go to this length. Government wants to deliver infrastructure. So wherever they can find the money, they will look for it.
Right.
So that's what we are seeing. They are taking loans all over the place, So they are looking for money to build infrastructure. There's a price that you have to pay if you must build all of the infrastructure that of your dream. Then you have to find the money wherever it is. The one I opposed was the idea of going to the PFAs and taking people's money. Governors wanted to go borrow money from the pension fund administrators. I said, what's the meaning of this? A lot of those governors did not even subscribe to the idea of contributory pension in the first place. But you want to go there and take money. They are not even
paying their own parts. They are not paying.
They are not paying, but you want to go and take the money. So, fine. As long as we can see the infrastructure that is delivered, it's a good thing. And I'm happy to support them to find the money wherever they can find it.
Indeed. So let's really take a short break. We'll be back with more discussions on this. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's still on to Journalist Hangout. Well, for the first time since the end of this Alex Ferguson era, Manchester United are top of the English Premier League in January. Now, a 1-0 victory over Burnley at Turf Moor, courtesy of a brilliant finish by Paul Pogba, sent United 3 points clear at the summit of the table. And the win ensured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team heads into Sunday's crucial clash with the champions Liverpool at Anfield on Sunday as league leaders. But how long can the Red Devils hold on to the top spot? Well, we have with us TVC News sports journalist Promise Efoge. Good to have you here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So what do you make of this, and what does this mean now for Manchester United?
Well, like you said in your intro, it's the first time United will be at the top of the table at this time of the year. The last time they were at the summit of the Premier League table in January was in 2013, and that was the last time they won the league. You know, topping the table at this time is instructive. It's important to talk about because you look at a United team that started on a very poor note, losing their opening game of the season at home. And so far this season, United, yeah, they've blown hot and cold in other competitions, but on the domestic front, they seem to have found some sort of balance. You know, 7 away wins so far this season. They've been able to, you know, culminate the highest number of away wins this season. They've been imperious away from home, picking points at home as well. And you find a Solskjaer who many would say has been I'm trying to find that word. He's been described in so many ways this season. Some persons say he's a fake manager, you know, who comes with so much promise but delivers less. But on the domestic front, Solskjaer has shown that he's focused. Perhaps he will not win the Champions League this season.
Right.
They're out of the Champions League. He's out of the Carabao Cup. But the man is focused on the domestic league. And he's, for me, if you ask me, the game on Sunday against Liverpool will be a determinant factor if Solskjaer can win the league this season or not.
So, but how long do you think the Red Devils will hold on to the top?
August 2018, they were on top of the table. It lasted 24 hours. They were displaced. This time, as I said, on Sunday, the Sunday game against Liverpool will determine how far they can stay on the table. As I said earlier, United have been imperious away from home. The win yesterday against Burnley was away from home. They've beaten anybody away from home. As a matter of fact, Old Trafford hasn't been the fortress for them this season, but they play away from home, they find confidence. Liverpool may just be in trouble on Sunday.
BKO, do you agree with this?
Well, I hope that Liverpool gets beaten. You see, for 5 years, Liverpool couldn't beat Manchester United in the league until that loss that Mourinho suffered, and I think that was what led to his sack. So, and then Solskjaer also lost 2-0 to Liverpool last season. For a long time, even throughout the Van Gaal years, Manchester United on some occasions even beat them at home. You know, so Liverpool found it difficult to win at Old Trafford. But on current form, they are the form team of the league.
United?
Yes, they are the form team of the league currently. A team that can win 7 of its 9 last matches, but to be taken seriously. And whatever anyone will say, Sunday will determine whether Manchester United is ready this time around to challenge for the English Premiership. If you tally the points that Manchester United has recorded since January this last year, they have taken more points than any team in the league, because the moment Fernandes joined them, Bruno Fernandes joined them, it totally changed the team and made Manchester United to begin to play on the front foot. They've taken more points than anyone between January last year and now. You know, they went on such a long winning run. You know, and if they can recreate that winning attitude
Streak, yeah.
that we began to see immediately after Bruno Fernandes joined the team, if they can recreate it at Anfield, then they have a good chance. I'm happy for one thing, as a Manchester United supporter, I'm happy for one thing. Anfield is a fortress. The noise alone. Players have testified that even from inside the dressing room, you feel like shitting in your pants because the Liverpool fans create a big atmosphere at Anfield. But in the COVID era,
there are no fans at the stadium.
there are no fans. So it's not a situation, the kind of situation that we used to have whereby the fans constitute the extra player.
Right.
You know, that won't happen. So it's like, it's not anyone's home turf when you are playing away from home these days. You have the advantage because your opponent will not have their fans cheering them on and trying to push them over the line. So in a way, they have a chance. But I'm not going to say that Manchester United will beat Liverpool. It will be fantastic if that can happen because they will now go 6 points clear on top of the table.
But the good news for fans like you is the fact that head-to-head, United-Liverpool, United have won more times against Liverpool than Liverpool have beaten United. I have the statistics here. United have beaten Liverpool 80 times as against 65 for Liverpool. But in the last 5 meetings, Liverpool has won more games against United. But like he said, on current form, you cannot underrate the Red Devils at this moment, especially on the domestic front. You talked about the man, Bruno Fernandes. The team found more balance when Pogba came from injury. You know, at some point he was putting the Frenchman on the bench. But playing Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, having Matic as well, it gives Pogba that free role to roam around from deep midfield to advanced position. It also frees Fernandes to go all attacking. I think that has really also added a lot of impetus to the Man United team so far.
So, but you know, finally, before we leave the show, wrap up the show, what do you think Manchester United should be doing differently if it is to, you know, secure a victory with against Liverpool?
Well, keep playing the way they've been playing. They've been consistent in getting the wins. As I said earlier, there's no Champions League distraction. There's no Carabao Cup distraction. Solskjaer, as a player, won titles under Alex Ferguson. So perhaps he still has that mentality in him. Although you can't give what you don't have. At the start of the season, it was a bit shaky. There were thoughts and doubts over his credibility. Many fans called for his sack. But I think the owners of the club have been patient with him. He's a club legend, you know, and perhaps he's about to pay back that loyalty and faith that was reposed in him as a manager. He won the title 1999 last time as a player. Perhaps he would be one of those few managers who's won the Premier League both as a player and a coach.
Well, wait to see what Sunday holds.
What will determine what happens is the team that he comes up with, because occasionally he lets the fans down
with the selections.
You know, so if he comes up with the right crop of players for that game, Manchester United have a good chance.
Sure.
But he has a way of disappointing with his team selections. I think playing the Ivorian centre back, Eric Bailly, helps the team. He has shown that he is the perfect partner for Harry Maguire, because Harry Maguire is slow and Victor Lindelof is slow. So it makes it difficult for the team to play on the high line and put pressure on the opponent.
Sure.
Because you have to be conscious of the fact that both of them are slow.
Sure.
But with
by his precision.
There, Harry Maguire is able to push further and support the attack because he knows he has a partner that is fleet-footed, and he throws his body on the line to block any shot. So he's, in my view, the best defender in the team, and he has to give him that consistent run. You know, in the squad, because he's played about 5 of the last 6 games now, and the team has done very well. So he needs to give him that confidence by constantly playing him.
All right, and that's a fine place to leave it, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Babajide Kolade Otitoju, and of course our earlier guest today in the show, Dr. Oladipo, and of course the sports journalist Promise Efoge. Thank you all, gentlemen. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of the program. Remember, you can watch a repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Esther Omopariola. Bye for now, and may God bless Nigeria.